All right, hello, and welcome to our class on Insurance WebEx Mentors program. For those who don't know me, I'm Coach Jeremy Nason. I've been I've been working with the Insurance Pro Shop and training agents for the past, as of this month, it's 25 years. I've been training agents in the business for 31. So today we're going to talk about something a little different and something that I recently did a video on. I've had a lot of agents have this revelation lately, and I wanted to share it on the biggest stage possible for you guys. I want to give you guys the best information possible to help you guys grow your businesses. And with a lot of agents out there struggling with lead generation, and I talk to hundreds of agents a month. I put articles on leadership all week long, videos on lead generation all the time, and everybody always tells me I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. When it's really, you don't need any more leads. You need to learn how to convert your leads in a better way. So I'm going to talk about how to convert those leads and dive a little deeper in this conversation. All right. So for those who don't know me, I'm Coach Jeremy Nason. Like I said, I've been doing this for now 31 years in the business. I've run the pro shop for the last 25. And, the question I get, why should I listen to you? Why should I listen to this guy I may not know, I may have heard of, may have read an article from or whatnot? Well, I started this when I was 17. And when I started the business at 17, I had a great, very high producing father, Lou Nason, that I wouldn't listen to in this business. And I failed it for the first 2 or 3 years until I started listening to the pros, getting a mentor, my dad, getting him to show me how to use a different strategy to get people to want to meet with me and how to close sales in a better clip. Okay. So I went from being a very low end, and at 17 making less than $10,000 a year selling insurance to within 3 or 4 years making well over 100,000 working part-time in this business, and never looking back. So today, fast forward now, I'm 31st year this year. I've been training agents for a long time and have a large success rate or a huge success rate of training agents at a very high clip. Where most of the industry averages about a 95% failure rate, I have an 85% success rate in training agents how to get better appointments, how to stay in this business longer than 5 years, how to build real strong cases to help clients see or prospects see what we can help them solve and do. All right. So we're going to talk about really three big things today. Lead generation or conversion, which is the big problem. We're going to learn how to create an offer that resonates with your target audience and improve conversion rates, and a simple strategy to set up points and natural people or more people you talk to. All right. So lead generation or conversion. This is a very somewhat hot topic in the industry, and for me, I come from an insurance background, but I also come from an insurance market and internet marketing background at this point, where I've been training agents online for the last 20 some years. One thing, when I first started doing online sales, of my products and services, it's all about the conversion rate. It's not as much about how many leads you're getting in. If you're converting at a very high clip, you'll be very successful doing it. So when we talk about the conversion process, it's how do we get people to raise their hand and want to work with you? Again, if we're just buying leads, okay, let's get back to the insurance part of the business for a minute here. If we're buying leads, do we have any control of the marketing message they're putting out? Do we have any control of what people are being marketed or who is being marketed? Very little. So a lead is just nothing more than a name on a paper for the most part. Very few have any good qualities to them. You'll find a few here and there, but for the most part, you're throwing crap against the wall and seeing what sticks. Now, with learning how to get better conversions, you're taking your skill level up a notch. Because again, a lot of agents get stuck in that lead hamster wheel that they can't ever escape from. I know agents been in this 20 years, still buying leads, still doing the first year in the business 20 years over and over and over again. And it's a miserable experience. You're always having to grind and worry about where the next sale's coming from, where the next lead's coming from. How much money am I going to spend on leads this month? If you have a bad batch of leads come through, then you're really in deep doo-doo and ready to leave the business again. Where If you learn to convert prospects you talk to, whether you're getting leads, whether you're doing walking and talking, cold walking, doing direct mail, whatever it is you're doing, if you can learn to convert a higher percentage of those numbers, you're going to be much better off long term. Because, so if the average agent buys 25 to 50 leads a week, if not more than that, okay, they're going to need, they might get their 5, 6 appointments a week and have to spend, uh, $1,000 to $2,000 a week for leads to get those 5 appointments. Where a lot of the guys I work with only run at max 3 appointments a week. I recommend doing 5, but if you're the world's worst salesperson, you do 1 out of 5 close, you're still making all your money. But for a lot of my guys, we close 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3. We don't miss very many. So if we can convert the people you already know, like, work with, talk to, into possible opportunities, and show them how we can help you, show them how you can help them solve their problems, it becomes a much easier opportunity for them. Right. So again, it's not about, the amount of, if we're selling just a cheap widget, we need to sell a lot of widgets to make any money. Right. I come from more of a planning background. I want to use insurance as a planning tool to help people solve financial needs and woes. Okay. The average commission my guys generate is between $4,000 and $12,000 in commissions. Let's call it 4 for easy math on the low end. Okay. So if one of my guys goes out and makes his 5 new appointments by talking to people, he closes one, so he makes $4,000 a week. $4,000 a week, 50 weeks of the year is $200,000 a year without breaking a sweat. All right. Then you have the guys that are doing 2 or 3 appointments a week and closing 3 appointments a week. That's $12,000 a week in commissions. That's a lot of money in the year, right? So again, it's not about how much lead flow you have. It's about how much conversions you're having to get people to sit down and talk to you, and helping them get you into a position where you can talk to them in a favorable way. Right. So let's talk about how to create an offer that resonates with your audience. This is the most important thing we do, because if we're selling people, we're an insurance agent, we're selling people where, I sell IUL, I sell infinite banking. It doesn't mean crap to our prospects. Right. So we want to have an offer. So what is an offer? And I this one thing I learned years ago, but it took me a minute to wrap my head around it. And I'm going to break down the simplest thing about what it means to as an agent. And an offer is what we can do to help our prospects. When you get into doing online offers and different things, it's a whole different set of rules to go along with it, knowing your target audience and some other pieces. But if you want to create a message, you want to have a message that resonates with your audience, of something you can help them do, something you can help them solve. Right. So what do your prospects need or want? What is it you do that really can light up your prospect's day, to change your prospect's life? What service do you offer? And don't say it's a product, because a product is irrelevant. What problem can you help your prospects solve? What can you do to make an immediate impact and change their life? What is the one thing you can do to best serve your prospects? That's what it comes down to. If you want to create a epic offer, a way to get people to want to meet with you, you have to have something of value you can offer them. And a lot of times, what we're offering, again, I talk to hundreds of agents a month, and I go through a lot of these scripts and these phrasings from companies that is absolutely crap. It's an absolute pile of crap, because again, it's all about the product or making a sale. It's not about the prospect. So we want to focus on problems and emotions. This is where our offer comes into play. This is where we can start having fun with our offer. Problems, death, income, taxes, inflation, income replacement, disability. You could add 1,000 things here, or different problems that we can help people solve. how to outpace inflation, how to eliminate taxes in the future, how to create income if one of your spouses dies, how to prevent a premature death, a financial loss from premature death. These are problems that our profits are facing. And then couple that with the emotion that goes with it. Problem and emotion. Love, hate, fear, greed, loss. These are all emotions that we feel. And when you can incorporate a problem with a feeling, so basic math, right? Problem plus emotion equals an appointment. The most simple form that you can ever have. Problem plus emotion equal an appointment. If you find the problem and know your problem of how the problem's going to affect those people, and help them see how it's going to affect them by asking the right questions, they're going to want to meet with you. So keeping this is real. This is going back to sales 101 stuff. But again, I'm a fundamentals coach. This is what I teach all day long, is fundamentals. Because again, you can have all the widgets in the world, all these kinds of softwares, have all these designations after your name, spend all this money on education. But if you don't have the basic skills, it's all for naught. I'm a baseball coach too, right? And I've coached baseball, travel ball for kids up from anywhere from 7 to 18 years old for the last 12, 13 years, right? And when I was coaching rec ball and even early travel ball with my 10 and 12-year-olds, you'd have these kids show up with thousands of dollars of equipment, brand new bats, gloves, sliding mitts, helmets, catcher's gear, thousands of dollars of equipment, but don't know how to field a ground ball. Don't know the first thing about swinging a bat. See, the fundamental is the foundation we build from. If you don't have a grasp on the fundamentals, that $10,000 swing, $10,000 bat, it's not doing any good. You don't know how to swing it. So what I'm going to talk about today is going to help you build that fundamental, that base level of understanding of questions, of technique that you can build from over time. It's not going to be an immediate saying, hey, do this, and you're going to get this. There's very few times in life where I can tell someone, if you do this, you're going to get this. And if any coach is telling you that same thing, do this, and you'll be a suspect guaranteed like this, they're probably not telling you the right truth. Because nothing works overnight. It takes time to build these skills up. But again, if you build the foundation and start implementing these in your strategy, you're going to have a lot of success long term. There'll be hiccups, there'll be bumps in the roads, like anything we're trying to learn. But if you just take the time to learn these basic fundamentals, it'll make your life a lot easier. Thank you, Ray. So let's dive into I'm going to go through, again, trying to illustrate how simple this is. Okay. Now, for me, I'm still a practicing agent. So I'm out in the field when I have time. I spend most time coaching you guys, but I do have time. I go out and talk to people. And I like talking to people because it keeps me in front of people, in the face, in the trenches with you guys, but also gives me ways to test other things that I know work or I know may not work. I want to test it out. How far can I push the envelope of asking questions? How far can I push a press before they snap back at me? Right? So I'm going to share you what my basic script is. And again, if you can pull it off, great. Have fun with it. A lot of guys talk about, well, I want to imitate, I want to impersonate Van Miller. And that's great. I'm happy for you. But no one's Van. No one's Jeremy. No one's Ray. We all have our own style. We all have our unique way of presenting things and talking about things. So we talk about building the foundations, teaching you the strategy, the formulas to build this for yourself. All right. And I'm here in Dallas, Georgia. We talk like Southern rednecks. Y'all too. I mean, we say some stupid stuff down here. Okay. So using my script and taking it and trying to put it out in California, out in Oregon, out in Washington State, maybe a completely different feel for what it is. the basic premise will work, but formulate your words to match your community, the people you want to talk to. So when I'm out in the field, and some of the guys in the class, I know you guys probably heard me say it's 1,000 times. No shop I'm going to go to. But for those who have not heard this before, this is the simplest way I can find to set appointments for myself. Because here in Georgia, we hate paying taxes. Most families hate having the right to pay that tax bill every year, whether it be income tax and whether it be our ad valorem tax on our cars and trucks and boats. Property taxes have been increasing dramatically the last couple, 3 or 4 years. It's going to tax crazy here. Okay, so as far as getting people to talk about how it affects them, that's what I want to open the door for. So I'll start a conversation, at the baseball field, wherever. It doesn't matter, supermarket. I don't care where I am. Bowling alley, bar. Have fun with it. Again, the more you have fun in this business, the more charismatic you are, the more people are going to want to work with you. I've done this like car lots, test driving trucks. I've something with the salespeople in the back seat. I don't care where I am. As long as they have a tax problem of some kind, I can help them solve it. So I'll ask someone, based on the way the economy is going today, food prices have doubled, not just increased tenfold, taxes are going to go, taxes are repealing and so forth. Do you think taxes are going to be higher or lower in the future? Almost everybody says higher. So if taxes go up, even the slightest amount, how will that affect your income in retirement? What would happen if it went up 10, 20, 30%? What would you do? How do you feel about that? If I could show you a way to limit those future taxes without spending any more money than you're spending now, is what I'm talking about. Again, a very simple script, isolating the problem. And here's the gist of the script. Isolate the problem. The tax will be higher or lower. And in most cases, the tax will be higher. So taxes go up. How will that affect your income retirement? If taxes go up 20 or 30%, could you live on 23% less income? How do you feel about that? What's your strategy to avoid paying those extra taxes? If I could show you how to remove or limit those taxes in your retirement without spending any more than you're spending now, is it worth a short conversation? All right. Now, that's me. And I'm very passionate about tax. Again, I grew up in Massachusetts. With the Boston Tea Party, of a 2% tax on breakfast on tea. Right. We had a whole revolution regarding this. So most Americans do not want to pay taxes at all. We feel like we're taxed at sales tax, income tax, state taxes. If it's a hot button for people, why not use it to get an appointment? And I know, again, the question I get from usually someone in the group is, well, if we're talking about taxes, how does that how does that make life insurance? Well, life insurance is one of the few vehicles that you can build tax-free income in, and provide death benefits to cover the family if something bad happens prior to them needing it. So it's a win-win for the client, right? So again, hitting the pain first, finding the problem, asking them some emotional questions to get them to think about how it affects them, and then offering a solution or a basic qualifying question that will get them to want to sit down and talk to you. Right? And again, you can add other questions. How much better off would you be if you had some of your income were tax or taxable? What would that allow you to have more spendable income to do? There's all kinds of questions, the who, what, where, when, how, and why questions, these feeling questions that allow us to get the emotion drummed up. Fear, greed, loss, love. All these are great emotions to pull from. I tend to go more with fear or loss. That's the way I was brought up in the industry. Some people like going with more of the greed application of it. That's fine too. No, I don't think that's the best way for me. I can't pull that off. Right. So again, I've had agents take this script and go run with it. And I'll leave it on the screen, take a screenshot of it, use it. I don't care. Make sure if you're going to use it, make sure you practice it first and know what you're doing, right? Because again, if you can take this, make some appointments, I'm happy for you. So again, we have, and I wasn't going to give this too much on this call, is we have a major problem in our country right now. Huge problem. We've gone from some of the best savers in the world to some of the worst savers in the last 10, 20 years. I build a lot of income plans now for boomers, people retiring, baby boomers, and watching them still not have enough money to retire with. And it's crushing. These are some of the best savers in the world. They were saving well over 10% of their income for the majority of their life. And today, the national savings rate is 2.9%. So the Gen X, the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas have no prayer right now of retiring unless we make some significant fundamental changes. So use these scripts, take them out, use them, talk to people in your local areas, and get out in the trenches and help a few families. Because we need to make some significant changes, or we're going to have a really, really bad problem long term. We already know Social Security is failing, and major changes there. We know they're already adding IRMA taxes on, which is a wealth tax. We're going to add more wealth taxes on. It's going to become a mess. So if you do nothing else besides learn this one thing in this class today, the takeaway is to find a problem, learn to ask a few questions, cover the emotions, to set the appointment. All right. So let's break this down even more granularly, right? Because I want to make sure you guys understand the concept so you can take this and run with it. All right. So how do you set a point to 6 questions or less? That's always my challenge. I've broken it down, and usually the more questions you ask, the better off you are. But the minimum I find is 6. That's 2 probing questions, 3 soft facts, and a basic qualifying question. It's a basic formula. I missed a P on my probing here. But that's the basic formula of this. If you ask 2 probing questions, 3 soft facts, how do you feel about that? What would you like to see happen? Who would that affect? How would that make you feel? And get that emotion, elicited emotion out. People want to take action. People are going to want to, if you can show them a way to do it without, for me, the first question, the 3 soft questions, and the basic qualifying are the most important. The basic qualifying question is that last phrase. If I can show you how to do blank to accomplish what we talked about in A, B, and C, and have it not cost you a penny more than you're spending now, is we're having a short conversation about. Again, you can add this to any conversation. Okay. And again, if you're, for me, I deal with people, my market is unique to me. I deal with people that are 35 to 55, families with kids who own homes, who have kids in travel sports. That's my predominant market. I don't work with teachers. I don't work with, I don't look for teachers. I don't look for professionals. I don't look for business owners. I don't look for policemen. I don't look for firemen. I don't look for construction workers. I don't look for anybody particular. I want families with kids who own homes, who have kids in travel sports. These people that I identify with on a granular level, that I have a lot of very in common with. So I've been coaching baseball for a long time. My kids are all in sports. My grandkids are getting into sports now. So it's for me, it's a win-win market. Okay. So if we can think about, I did this in a class, I think it was about a year and a half ago. We, as part of our resource center, our monthly membership, we have 4 live web classes a month, 4 to 5 classes a month like this on different trainings, whether it be group coachings, case designs, all kinds of stuff. So we were talking in a group coaching class about asking questions, about setting appointments. And one of my agents, Brandon, MDRT core of the table guy, was struggling with appointments that year. And he said, well, Jeremy, if I had a chart to pull from, a flow chart, I could probably do this a lot easier than trying to memorize a bunch of stuff. I said, okay, Brandon, I'll write you a chart. So I wrote him a chart. Okay, and this is where kind of this stems from. This whole philosophy stems from this chart. And again, I was breaking, for me, I'm very logical. I'm a puzzle solver. I like logical thinking. It's easy for me to be very logical, very engineering mindset, whatever. So breaking it down to the most simple philosophy of how to set appointments. The formula came in one day. 2 probing questions or hard fact questions, 3 soft facts, and a basic qualifying question. And this walks you through the opportunities. So these are the first 4 questions I wrote. Okay, I have guys who do estate planning. I have guys who do disability. But again, keeping this really simple. Whether it be just life insurance. With question 1, life insurance. If you or your spouse are not making home tomorrow, how would that affect your family financially? What would your family do? What would you like to see happen in a perfect world? How do you feel about that? If I can show you blah, blah, blah. And so, yes, Jim, I will actually, I have multiple charts on the resource center, but if you want a chart, just shoot me an email to ipscoachjeremy@gmail.com and I'll shoot you the charts. Again, if you, so I did the first 4 with my agents. I didn't put my tax one on there yet. Want to keep it really simple initially. So during the next class, we said, okay, let's do some homework. I want everybody in this class, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. I want you guys each write your own question chain about something that's important to you in your market. And I have like 3.5 pages of these charts now. I'll show you guys. Because again, this is powerful information. And it gives you guys a good resource to think about how you can build these for yourself. Right? Debt, taxes, inflation, retirement income, tax-free income, life insurance in general, permanent disability, the estate planning topics that are hot right now. You can write a chain of any stature in the same formula. The more questions you ask, the better it's going to be. But as far as learning the absolute basics, if you can do it in 6, you can be a rock star at this really, really quick. It's not overnight. You got to practice it. I practice my conversation, God, probably 10, 12 times a day the last 2 or 3 years. So think about how many reps is that is. I was talking to one of the guys I look up to in my church, and he's one of my mentors in church. And he read a book by Og Mandino years ago called The Pillars. And in pillar 1, I'm going to paraphrase it. I don't know I haven't read it in a long time. But it says basically anything you want to learn, you want to take and repeat it out loud for 10 times every night. Some of that effect. Right. So I was talking to another agent, which I think is on the call. We were talking the other day about him writing 3 different question chains for 3 different places in his market. But start by writing 1. Start by going through, re-listen to this video, re-listen to the explanation of the formulas, and then start building your questions out from there. Your hard fact or your entry question has to be something that's important to your market. What do you do that can make the biggest impact on your market? What problem can you solve? How big a problem is it for your prospect? Again, life insurance 101, if you or your spouse didn't make it home tomorrow, what's going to happen to your family? With the way the government's spending money hand over fist, you think tax is going to be higher or lower in the future? If you fell off a ladder fixing your home or got into a car accident and lost your income for 6 months or a year, what would happen? We were talking about this in class last week. When can you use these? Well, the minute someone asks you what you do, This is what I go to. I'm not going, you know, my one of my publicist friends, Wally Kate, some of you guys have probably heard of him. We sat and did a lot of work together on just talking to people, and he taught me a lot of things on approaching people. I'm kind of an introvert in public. I'm not one of those guys like to talk to everybody. But Walt taught me some techniques, that made my life a lot easier. Because he's kind of a goofball, so I'm kind of a jokester with him, and going out and we do the same thing, and it was always fun. Coming people on shoes, on their watches, on their hair, on their purse. Get in to have a conversation with us. Kind of break the ice a little bit. And people almost always ask me, "Well, what is it you do, Jeremy?" And I can either go into, you know, um, a brief explanation, a USP or elevator pitch, which I really don't care for personally. One of my mentors, Hilton Johnson, taught me years ago that, ask questions. Well, you know how people struggle with blank? Well, what I do is, and if I might ask you a few questions, right? So, people struggle with paying taxes in retirement. What I do is I help people create streams of income that are tax free long term. Can I ask a few questions? Do you think taxes are going to be higher or lower in your future? If taxes go up 10, 20, 30%, how's that going to affect your retirement income? What would you like to see happen? How do you feel about that? What's your strategy to avoid paying all those taxes in retirement? If I try to remove all taxes from retirement so you have a tax-free retirement without spending a penny more than you're spending now, is what we're having a conversation about. Keeping it really, really simple. So that's the challenge for you guys, is to take these sheets and build your first chain. Think about, what drives you in your business. What do you want to do in this business? What product do you really want to be offering? What problem do you really want to be solving for people? Annuities, life insurance, IUL, infinite banking, lead, misfortune, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And come up with that first question that will gain you entry into that conversation. Right? And keep it really simple. Then think of a follow-up question. So if I had to ask a question to kind of clarify my first point, they look confused. How do I simplify and clarify it more? And I want to have 3 or 4 emotional questions. And the question you'll probably see in every one of my things that I ever write is, how do you feel about that? That is one of the most important questions you can ask anybody in a kind of conversation. When you're talking about a pain point with them, if taxes went up 10, 30, 40%, how do you feel about that? That elicits the immediate emotional response we want. We want the people to get into how it's going to affect them. Let us talk to them about how to get them to think and visualize how it affects them in their mind. And we do that, and then we ask a follow-up question. And I learned this from Van not long ago with strategy questions. What's your strategy to avoid blah, blah, blah? And it's again, back-to-back questions of that nature are phenomenal. Because now you're getting to think about how it affects them. And you're asking, what's the strategy to avoid it? And they would be, I don't know. I don't know what I should do. Well, if I can show you a few ways to overcome that and have it not cost you a penny more than you spend now, so what's that I'm talking about? So you have 3 questions already really written for you in this. It's coming up with the other 3, 2 hard facts and 1 emotional. And you're off to the races with this. And then a matter of practicing. Build these chains in your voice, in your verbiage. I know I have a couple agents in Singapore and Australia. We have to change the language a little bit to do the same, to comment the same thing. I have a gentleman in Zimbabwe I'm talking to right now. We're having the same thing. And breaking it down to what problems and are pertinent to them, and getting it to be from you, not from Jeremy, not from Van, not from Lou, not from, James or from Ray. It's from your voice. These are not repetitive. These are not robotic scripts. The idea behind this is to eternalize this information, to make it one with you, not to be regurgitated on command, but to be automatic and without thought that you can just go right into this in any situation. See, we don't have a lead generation problem because think about it. How many people are within 5 or 10 miles of your office? How many people do you see on a daily basis walking up and down the street? And I'm not saying to go serve everybody. You should work with every client you come up with. That's not what I'm saying, right? But by look, you can judge some people that, hey, they may be a good fit for what I do. Me, I don't care. When I'm out there practicing and trying to set up with anybody, I'm trying to do it with everybody. I don't care. I want to push the envelope on what I can do. Because honestly, for me, there's not a person that I can't help solve a financial problem for. I've been in this 30 some years. Not everybody's like me, right? But if you know your market, so know your target audience, right? And go to where they are and talk to them. For me, my targets is at baseball fields, at football fields, at the sports on park, out buying gear at Academy. They're all the sporting goods stores. So I know where my market goes. But think about where your market goes, what they do, and build on that. So if you're working with mostly nurses, look for a scrub store and go talk to people. Go to the doctor, talk to people. Just go out and talk to people. That's what it comes down to. The majority of our activity we can generate should be with our own voice, not spending thousands of dollars on low opportunity, high stakes marketing. We have so many prospects right in our own backyard that no one is servicing. I love working middle market families. Always have. I will never deviate from that. Right? Because there's so much opportunity there for immediate impactful growth of the family, immediate financial responsibility from the family, and again, it pays really well for me. So I'm able to help them solve so many different problems, whether it be for college, retirement, life insurance, disability. There's 4 or 5 that I make to every client. But find what works for you. Think about where your people go. I know Ray, he does a lot of long-term care. He does a lot of long-term networking events and talks to people doing it. Has his own little chain he does now. Put it together for you. If you want to work with just life insurance stuff, then go talk about life insurance. Go talk about the problem they're going to have. Not with the product, but so look for, Monday through Friday from 3 till 5, go center for supermarkets and watch all the families with kids walk by after school and have conversations. Go out and challenge them to have conversations a couple times a day. Again, it won't take long for you to get the practice you need to do this and scale up from there immediately. They have to take the first step, right? Problem plus emotion equal appointment, 6 questions in practice. If you do that in with these techniques, you're going to be able to scale up your business very quickly without having to spend thousands of dollars on leads. Looking at mortgage protection, looking at final expense, all this can be done right in our own backyard still. We don't need to buy leads and spend thousands and thousands of dollars a year for nothing, for the same 10% conversion rate. When if we learn a better conversion rate and market it ourselves and our own clients, we can make 3 or 4 times the amount of income we need or want, and we're working part-time in this business. Does that make sense? I'll leave you guys with this. You know, if you want to become part of this organization and learn how to really dive into more of these questions, become a resource center. For 40 bucks a month is some of the best training you can get on the internet today. You know, four to five live classes a month, thousands of articles, a backlog of 3.5, 4 years of videos on marketing, sales, on questions. It's a gold mine of the very best life insurance marketing question and sales training out there. All right. You can see it at insurancepro.com/insurance-marketing. You know, there's more information on that, on how that works and so forth. But guys, if you just take this information and run with it, you're going to be able to scale your business up dramatically fast. It's all about, the more you can learn to ask the right questions, the more you can dive into the who, what, where, when, how, and why questions, the more opportunities you can create for yourself. All right. And again, I know, you know, some of you guys know that Lou's been sick for the last year or so. And, you know, being that he's in hospice now and still he's okay right now, but he is in hospice, he's still setting up with me. He still talks to people every single day. Any nurse he comes by, he's out getting breaths in the morning with my mom. Anybody that they talk to is he's going to ask a question to. How do you guys run into on a daily basis? Think about it for a minute. When you're out and about, going to get gas in your car or truck, going to your appointments, who's making your foods, where do you shop at, who's cutting your hair, who are your doctors, who's doing your car maintenance, your oil changes. You know, talk to people. We run with people all day long. And we have our fists in our mouths forbid us from talking to people. You know, we are the front line of changing how America saves money. We are the front line of how to create generational wealth for our families, how to create tax-free income. You know, we have to be the ones that are opening our mouth and talking to people on a daily basis. And the more you do, the easiest job becomes. You know, I haven't done any kind of high-end marketing as a workshop 2-3 years ago. Everything else I do is word of mouth and talking to people. You know, sitting in the baseball stands after a game and hearing other parents from other teams. Hearing somebody complain about their 401k. I hear this all the time. I was at a retreat last October, which it was May, and I'm sitting between two guys. They're talking about their Social Security retirement. I'm still in the middle of these two older guys. You know, ask a few questions. Again, the more we open our mouths and ask questions of people and get people to understand that we're not trying to sell them anything, we're trying to offer advice and help. If I can show you how to do that, is it worth having a conversation about? And if you're sincere and if you're compassionate and you're showing the right tonality and the right inflection in your voice and having the right body language, you know, you can create a lot of these opportunities very quickly. Again, I'm not bouncing my seat. Well, if I can show you how to do this, this, and this, that's not going to help you. It's all in the inflection. If I can show you how to accomplish that, you know, I'm bringing the tone of my voice down. I'm bringing the speech pace down, and letting them understand what I'm saying so they can make an educated decision on whether they want me to help them or not. You know, some will, some won't. So what? Next. You know, you can't help everybody. But if you put just the most basic things to practice here, you're going to watch your sales just explode. So with that, I will shut up. And I know we have people in the class still. If you guys have any questions before we wrap up for the day, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away if you have questions. I'll put them in the chat. Thank you, Kent. Yeah, I mean, again, this is the stuff we teach in the Resource Center. So if you're not a member, have not checked it out yet, highly recommend you do. We offer a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. The email address is IPS Coach Jeremy. So I like Insurance Pro Shop, IPS Coach Jeremy at gmail.com. And just put it in charts, and I'll be happy to send those charts to you. You know, again, you know, my biggest thing why I do these classes is to give back to help the community, help you guys, the agents. Because again, there's a lot of misinformation out there for you guys and gals that is being pushed down your throats. And I want to be a proactive voice to help you guys. Even if you don't make any money on it, I don't, if I make money, make money. If I don't, I don't care. But I want to make sure you guys get the best training possible to be successful in your own businesses. You guys are out there grinding your asses off to get anywhere in this business. And I want to make sure you guys get the help you need, because again, this business is ultra lonely. It can be hard as hell, but with the right training, it can be made very simple and very, 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 very profitable for everybody. All right. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, Ed's been a long time member of ours for a long time, Ed. Long time. Yeah, I started the Personal 99. I know a lot of guys have been listening since the early 2000s. Had a lot of clients still on our Resource Center. Price has gone up over time. When we first started, it was $10 a month. Couldn't beat that price. Now it's 40. But think about where else can you get coaching, live group coaching. We can ask questions, be interactive, get role playing help for $40 a month. It's hard to, you can't beat it. Again, I'm not trying to set the world on fire. I'm not trying to make $10 million a year. That's not me. And again, the more you get to know me, the better off you're going to see that Jeremy is not that money grabbing individual guy. He's not that. He's the guy that's going to give you honest to God help and give you the best training possible. So without that, I will leave you guys for a good day. Enjoy the rest of Columbus Day. And I will see you guys next time. Make it a great day.